This is just not me. I'm revealing stuff that men have been ruined. Men have taken their lives for. Men have lost their children. Some people, men are paying $2,000 a month in child support and don't see their kids at all. I've heard stories. I've been in courtrooms. One of the fortunate things about me is that my ex has been so vigilant to try to stick it to me. She keeps taking me to court and I keep learning. I'm like, every time you doing this, I learn how the system works and I come out, monetize it. You just giving me more ammo for my book and my next book and my next book. But I get to sit in there 8 years in court watching cases of men getting torpedoed. Then I come out and I tell the story and they say, well, you just bitter and hurt. And I'm saying, guys, it ain't me. I'm seeing a lot of dudes in there getting ran over. And it's ugly when they get ran over. They're getting ran over. They don't even get 2 words in the courtroom. Not even 2 words. And they're losing their shit. They're just getting torn up. They ain't said 2 words in that courtroom. 15-minute case, and they getting turned upside down, pockets picked and pulled out with the lint falling out of it. They ain't said 2 words in there. I was like, yo, it's bad, guys. It's bad. It's worse than I can even make it because I have to censor myself. Right? It's really, really bad. All right. And it's kind of crazy. Shout out to my man, Kevin, in the building. Journey of brothers. We in here together. All right. El Santo says, support coach. Thanks for the show. Rent is due. It is. Thank you, brother.
Your rent's due, motherfucker.
Shout out to Miguel. Money Miguel says, number 1. We number 1 in the building. And most men, this is why I laugh at a lot of guys that don't have experience at all. And they might be critical of me or act like they know what they're talking about. I'm like, you know nothing. You know nothing. I've forgotten more than you know. Trust me, you know nothing about how this works. Even married men, they're married. Oh, what is this about? I'm like, you know nothing. Just wait. Just wait. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. You know you're going to get screwed over if your wife divorces you right now. You know you can't afford it. So if you think you know what happens on the other side of this, you know nothing. If you're a guy that just out here getting hoes and running game, you know nothing. I've forgotten more than you know. Shout out to Kaylin says, I'm a millennial, and seeing the debt slavery video made me cringe. We truly have to be thankful for those who paved the way for us. I'll admit it. I wouldn't have made it back then or even in the 80s. Not at all. Not at all. I mean, man, it was a rougher time. And parents leave your ass in the car, leave you at home. And one more thing. Sometimes fighting these systems, it's a miracle to even fight them and be able to fight them. Because they already know you're going to fight them. So they already know you're going to go all roundabout ways, and they will try to do everything to you. Even if you defeat them, they'll still try to take your money. So you'll go in there and defeat them, stop them right in their tracks, and they'll still come at you. They're like, these family court people are like zombies. They're like zombies. You think they'll go away. You think you'll just play their little game. You'll think you'll do this. You think you'll sue them. You'll do all of this stuff. They're like zombies. They're like the Undertaker. They just sit right back up. And they're like, okay, yep, he's doing this. They treat you like a common criminal. If one thing you'll learn is if you get to family court, which most of you will if you marry, but one thing you'll learn is you just became a criminal and you didn't even jaywalk. You didn't rob the liquor store. You didn't shoot anybody. Okay? You didn't shoot anybody. You didn't speed. You didn't beat anyone up. Okay? You didn't assault anyone. You didn't steal candy. You became a criminal. To the court, they will treat you like a common criminal. And the only thing that happened is you had kids with this person. And or you married them. When I tell you that, you will not believe it until it happens to you. You would be like, why are they treating me like a criminal? They will literally drag you in there like you're in shackles and chain and won't give you an ounce of respect. And you're like, what did I do? Why do I deserve this type of... In fact, they'll treat you worse than criminals. Because constitutionally, you don't have even the protection of a criminal in that court. You don't even have the legal protections of a criminal in a criminal case. A criminal case, the criminal, the defendant has more rights than you. And you're just the father. You're just the husband. The criminal has more rights, meaning that you have a right to a speedy trial. Not them. They have an open case for 10, 12, 15, 30 years, and they just keep revisiting it. They can't even do that to a criminal. Double jeopardy. Right? A criminal guy. You have a right to an attorney in a criminal case. Not over there. Not in the family court. Nope. You can't afford an attorney? Oh, well, dumbass. You're innocent until proven guilty in the criminal court. Not in family court. You're already the guilty party. Then, if you get into debt with them in a criminal case and in a civil case, you potentially can bankrupt anything that comes out of that. Potentially. Not in family court. You get on child support, no bankruptcy. That debt's with you forever. I want you to think about this. As a criminal, you would have a better chance in court. Oh, right to a jury. You have a right to a jury trial. You can ask the judge to decide or a jury. Not in family court. There's the judge, the jury, and the executioner is the one person. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying. As a criminal, you got more rights. And you can go to debt. You can go to jail for the debt in family court. You cannot, in a criminal or a civil case, go to jail for the debt or not paying the debt. There's no jail. If you get a civil judgment, in the civil court. You ain't going to jail if you don't pay the debt. Not in family court. You don't pay the debt, you go to jail. I want you to think long and hard about this. And you didn't even stab nobody. You didn't even stab nobody. All you wanted to do was spend time with your kids. Think about it. Caitlin said, yeah, and then they'll take away your right to drive a vehicle. They'll take away your ability to go to a job. They'll take it away. Oh, you can't drive your car. Why? You owe us money. They'll take your passport. Can't travel. Why? Not even in a civil case will they do that. Barely in a criminal case will they do that. I mean, there's times where they'll do that, but I'm telling you. All because you wanted to get married. All because you wanted to have kids. This is where the problems stem from. When this guy comes on here, marriage causes divorce. Marriage causes divorce. That's the one thing that causes divorce, marriage. All because you loved the girl. All because you thought you were doing the right thing. You can't even go to work. You're a doctor. You're behind on child support. No job. They take away your ability to work. Yep. You can't buy firearms in many cases. All right. And if there's a domestic violation situation, they take your firearms. Legacy ninjas, listen up. You got more rights as a criminal. All right. So anyway, Bob says, if most men went hockey mask time, it would stop. I don't think that's the solution, but I see what you're saying. Mr. Albert says, I went from greatest dad ever to deadbeat. Just like that. Right? Okay. He went from greatest dad ever to deadbeat. In fact, I had a similar situation. I was recognized as a father of the year. The father that contributed the most to the school at my kids' elementary school. Guess what was happening to me? I was treated like a deadbeat in the court. I was restricted access to my kids. So much so that I had to actually work at the school as a volunteer to see more time with my kids. And they were trying to interfere with that. They were saying he can't do that. Guys, it is crazy. And no, I don't have the only crazy ex out here. There's a lot of them doing that. That's what they do. They all do this. It's in my book, The Free Agent Lifestyle, by the way. Shout out to Kayla that says, I see why God said that marriage is death. Do you part? The government treats it like a joke. And it's basically a system of that they can get their hands in the pocket, especially towards men. Men, you have to be wise with who you choose to marry. CGA, thank you for sharing your story on the divorce. I'm glad you came out on the other side. Thank you, brother. Enigma WPG says, you were so right, coach. I'm in separation for a year, not even divorced. She stretched it out, just can't let go, turned into a leech and or a tick. She's just miserable. Thank you. Thanks to you, I was prepared. Shout out to you. Yeah. All right, you can stretch out these cases. You actually can come back every 6 months in family court. Every 6 months. You can come back and revisit your case. And they won't stop. Like the person, like you're not doing it. The other person's filing every 6 months. Do you know that that person can do that to you in family court? Every 6 months, take you in front of the judge. Ask for a modification. I've seen it. I've lived it. I know other people going through it every 6 months. For how long? For as long as the kids are minors. For as however long you were married. They can just keep taking you in, keep taking you in. Now, I want you to know, in civil court, in criminal court, they can't do that to you. Okay? In civil court and criminal court, they cannot do that to you. They cannot keep revisiting a case after the case has been decided. All right, they already decided the case. You were innocent or guilty, or you were not guilty or guilty. The case is over. It goes bye-bye. No more. It's behind me. Okay? No mas. We decided. That's called double jeopardy. We can't revisit it. In fact, if you go through a case where the only thing that you can revisit it on, if there was a hung jury or a mistrial, then you can bring it back up. All right? But if it's been decided, we decided on this. Let's keep it going. They keep coming back to it, keep coming back to it, keep coming back. It's very much one of these things, man. It's a sad thing that men don't understand. And I'm telling you, I'm doing y'all a great favor. You guys reward me for it with your support. But the message I'm giving you, if you take this as it's only me and it ain't gonna happen to me, trust me, brothers. You are in for a rude awakening. Let's get the last Venmos. We're going to go with, we're going to call you Mr. Knight. He says a lot of pregnant black women left for work in the morning back then and came back home for work in the evening, toting a child. A lot of them gave birth in the fields. As soon as the baby came out, they got off the ground and started working again immediately after giving birth. Yeah, it was a different day. Okay. We got, and he also says, Earl Silverman of Calgary started Canada's first and only men's shelter for domestic survivors. He was treated so horrendously by society and his government, he hung himself. Society hates men and will recklessly attack anyone helping men. No shelters or male-only gyms. It's when people say the game is rigged, when you find out, men's rights activists, anybody that tries to give information to men, we're treated so badly. Like we lose money, we lose our status. I'm literally giving you info they don't want you to have. No woman in the world wants you to know anything that I'm telling you. They don't want you to even consider this. This is how big of a deal that this information is, because when you're armed with it, you're gonna move accordingly. You're gonna treat the whole thing differently. You're going to treat the whole thing differently. You're going to be like, well, wait a minute. And if you're not strong enough, you're going to fall for the okie doke. What do we got? Trinicia says, people think a sister is a failure if she's unmarried and childless, and I'm not having a baby without the protection of marriage. What do you suggest a sister to do? Brothers love talking about having kids outside of marriage so they can run out easily. Thank you. I would say do not have children outside of marriage. But that is the only half protection you have. If you have children outside of marriage, this is actually devastating. It's devastating to the community. It's devastating to society. This destroys the very fabric of society because people do it and they multiply it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work at the rates that we're doing it. So I would tell you, don't have babies outside of the context of marriage. And if you want to do that, go to Africa, go to Kenya and be part of a polygynous society. Okay. But what you want is your own personal man to go ahead and risk everything that he's worked for, marrying you. And you can just pull the plug just as he can pull the plug and skedaddle. Okay. It's actually worse for unmarried men to have babies out in this world because they're going to treat you like a whole criminal.